All right, welcome back, football faithful, to the Draft Podcast, a proud member of the Gem City Sports Podcast Network. Your front row seat to the NFL Draft. I am your host, Paul Adamczak, and we've got a big one. 2 days from now, we'll be down for this for real, but tonight we're taking our final crack at the podium. It's the TDP FINAL mock draft. No trades, no excuses. 32 picks, straight down the line, every team 1 to 32. And once again, I'm not going to do this alone. Joining me today is a special guest making his return to the pod, my friend, Joe Alward, high school football coach and an amateur draft sleuth who knows the game like Bill Belichick knows hoodies. He's here to go head-to-head with me, alternating picks for all 32 teams. No trades means we're stuck with the organization in that slot, team by team, from top to bottom. Last time I had the number 1 pick, so we're going to switch it up this time around. Joe will go first, take all the odd picks. I'll go second and take the evens. Joe, how you feeling 48 hours from the big night?
Very excited, and I just want to ask a question here. Are we talking Bill Belichick, New England era with the sloppy-looking hoodies, or are we talking UNC days with the good-looking hoodies?
I was going to say, let's go Bill Belichick, Hall of Fame coach Bill Belichick before the midlife crisis.
Before the midlife crisis. Got it. I saw him in person last week. I was at the Savannah Banana games out at Chapel Hill, and he was a guest star, first base coach, threw a challenge flag, and everything. Crowd loved it. It was a good time.
Gosh.
Not that often do I hear Bill Belichick and be able to talk about him in a superb light, so to speak. But no, nonetheless, excited to get going. I'm disappointed not going to be able to get down there this weekend to the draft with you, but definitely going to be following along consistently. And especially as a Browns fan at heart, I'm going to either be crying my sorrows away or I am going to be crying my sorrows away because I'm just used to that as a Browns fan.
That's about right. I was talking to a buddy of mine, another Dolphins fan today. He goes, 2 days until we get our hopes and dreams broken again. I go, yep, soul crushing. I'm excited, but I also know how this works.
The lead up to the draft is the only time football fans with crummy organizations can actually enjoy their time.
I know you're right. That's why I do this show, talking about crummy organizations. All right, let's focus on the fun stuff. I don't want to think about the Miami Dolphins right now. Okay, so once again, Joey and I are going to take you through the full first round. For housekeeping purposes, Joey and I have not colluded on a predetermined 1 to 32. This is completely live. We'll react in real time. This is the Draft Podcast, and we're going to start at the top. First up, the Las Vegas Raiders. Joey, you have the pick. You are on the clock. Who might you be going with here?
So, funny story, not to make it quick, I was following along. The Cleveland Browns fans had a mock draft where each fan could enter a raffle to be picked and choose for a team.
I heard this. I tried to get in on this. I did not
Drew
make it,
Aller went top 3.
This. Yes,
Drew Aller went top 3. Nonetheless, we're not going Drew Aller here.
I think they had the Steelers take a kicker in round 1 too. It was wild. Yes.
But nonetheless, not going Drew Aller here. Fernando Mendoza, signed, sealed, delivered. Pretty sure his name's already on the jersey. And I wouldn't be surprised if they already have the private flight booked for him for draft night after his party.
Oh, I'm sure. I agree completely. The jersey's made. Obviously, he's not going to be in town. He's going to stay in Miami with his family. His mom's health issue is what he cited, but I know he's that kind of person. He just wants to be with his family, all the people that brought him along. So I'm happy for him. I think he's going to be great. Not a whole lot of excitement at the top. We know who pick 1 is, and we said before the show, I said I don't think there's even much to talk about at pick number 2. The Jets are on the clock, and they canceled their 30 visit with defensive end David Bailey. So I think this is a pretty obvious one. I think they're going to go with Arvell Reese, the edge out of Ohio State. What say you?
I think it's a very safe pick there. I would fully agree. We pretty much can bank on the top 2 draft picks pretty much being delivered already. Obviously, weird things do happen. A last-minute phone call like we've seen in the movie Draft Day with Sonny Weaver. Something weird like that could happen. Never say never, but I would be shocked if we see a trade out of these first top 2 spots and it'd be any different than Mendoza and Reese in those top 2 spots.
Okay, so this is where I was thinking about this. I think last year I predicted the top 10. I did like my predictive top 32, but I want to say like the top 8 or 9 or 10 I was like pretty sold on. The first one I got wrong was Ted McMillan. This year I can go too deep and then pick 3. I have an idea, but I have no I'm not sure. So where are you going with pick 3 in the Arizona Cardinals?
Well, I hope since it's being an Erie-based radio type show podcast, those fan favorites of James Conner up there in Northwest Pennsylvania don't hate me for this pick, but James Conner not getting any younger. I would almost say, in my opinion, possibly the best prospect in this draft overall, Jeremiah Love. I think the Cardinals are going to go that direction. They need playmakers. And what a better playmaker than Jeremiah Love, who can catch the ball, run the ball, split out wide, do it all. So we're going to go Jeremiah Love here at 3 to fill a running back need out there in Arizona.
Love it. Makes a ton of sense. Jeremiah Love, he is in my top 5. But yeah, he's one of the few blue chippers in this draft. So I agree. And your point about James Conner is well taken. He's gonna be in Pittsburgh. I'm sure you saw that, right?
Yep,
I don't know if
he's going
he's
to be
announcing
announcing. He's
not their
announcing their
first
second
pick.
round pick,
Yeah, okay. I was gonna
second
say
and
yeah,
third.
day
I think
2.
it's day 2 picks. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're not going to have him announce Love. So there's the first deviation from mock draft 1, which was March 17th. So how far we've come in just over a month. All right, Joe, I was not prepared for you to take Love 3rd overall. I thought that was going to go in a different direction, but that's fine. I have the Tennessee Titans 4th. They had the number 1 overall pick last year. They have a super talented quarterback in Cam Ward. And what do you need to do? You need to protect your franchise. So I am going to take who I think is the best tackle prospect in this class. He had to go back to the combine for a medical recheck, but I think he's going to be just fine. I'm taking Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle from the University of Miami.
I think it's a solid pick. As a person that's been watching offensive line, especially these tackles a lot this offseason, seeing that the Browns need a tackle. Wasn't completely sold on Malinois with some of his, like you said, his health issues. Him being a right tackle and having that chance to get kicked inside a guard. But nonetheless, still a great pick. And even if he ends up being a guard long term, definitely going to be an all pro type player, all caliber type player for that position. So definitely understand that pick and think that's a good one there in the number 3 or excuse me, number 4 spot for the
Yeah.
Titans.
So we're on to pick number 5, the Giants, who now have 2 picks in the top 10. Plenty of needs. One of them now at defensive tackle after trading away Dexter Lawrence. Number 5, probably a little bit too rich for the defensive tackle class. Where do they go 5th overall?
I think we're going to see our second Ohio State prospect fall off the board here with linebacker Sony Styles. I think Styles really fits in that 3-4 outside linebacker, something that the Giants love to run, can definitely use that depth. The one thing I was concerned about was Sonny Styles lining up as a defensive end. There's a lot of commentating talk about that possibility, but just didn't really see a lot on film that I like out of that. So I think him playing as a 3-4 outside linebacker is going to fit that athletic set or mindset that he has and the abilities that he has, and will be a great fit for the Giants with that new coaching staff.
The more I watch, the more I read, the more I hear him speak, the more I fall in love with Sonny Styles, a prospect. And yeah, for him to fall to 5, just ahead of your Cleveland Browns, I think 5 is the floor. I think he's going to be an absolutely stellar NFL player. I think he's going to be a team captain. Unbelievable. I think he's going to be a great player. Speaking of your Cleveland Browns, Joe, 6th overall, I've got the pick. Now, last time you had Caleb Downs here, and he's still available. I'm going to go in a different direction. I listen to a lot of Cleveland radio.
Ken Carman in the morning, baby. Shameless plug.
I know it. And Nick Padone in the afternoon.
Yep.
And who's the one in the evening? They want wide receiver. And I think the city of Cleveland may riot if Carnell Tate is not the pick at 6 overall. So if Carnell Tate comes off the board like I'm going to take here, how do you feel as a Browns fan?
I'm very happy with that pick. Realistically, as a Browns fan, after like you listening to a lot of different talk shows for Cleveland sports, doing a lot of different reading with the beat reporters, I really do think they're going to end up trading down. I don't think they're going to be picking at 6. I wouldn't be surprised if they already have a trade agreed upon like they did last year with Tennessee 2 weeks before the draft and just never came out. However, if that pick still stays at 6 and the Browns are making the pick, I think Carnell Tate is probably going to be your safest option. A lot of smoke screens out there about potentially Caden Proctor at 6. I think that's way too early. I think that's a lot of smoke screens going on. with that whole situation. I think Carnell Tate would definitely be the pick. And if I'm Todd Monken, I'm loving that pick all around to add that
Absolutely.
talent.
Who likes that pick more, Todd Monken or Shador Sanders?
Or Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I don't know. The
That's another
the
podcast.
albatross, he
That,
who should not be named.
that's another podcast for you down the
That's
road.
that's an entirely different podcast. We're on to pick 7, Joey. The Washington Commanders. Who do you think?
See, this is where it gets tough. There's a lot of different options that I think the Commanders could use. I think it's too early to go for it. They need a running back. It's not another running back that would be worth it this early in the draft. I could
Agreed.
definitely see them trading down. However, if they don't, I would just say they're probably going to add to that defensive line. But I'm going to go with Reuben Bain Jr. out of the University
Oh,
of Miami, bolster up that defensive line. I mean, really looking at it, you have two DNs, a safety, and a corner, and another safety left in the top 10 in my rankings at least. So I think
yeah.
that fit Reuben Bain is going to be the best option for them. I think David Bailey ends up being the better prospect long term. I do
Mm-hmm.
have my questions on Reuben Bain's size, but for all intents and purposes, Reuben Bain's going to be the pick here.
That's the first surprise for me is taking Bain over Bailey. I don't know if that'll happen, but I can see the logic in it because I like Bain. He doesn't have the pass rush upside that Bailey has, but he's a plug and play edge. I mean, a run
Hmm.
defender and a mean one. The pass rush upside is there. He can develop that. He's not a terrible. It is not. He doesn't have or doesn't not have that tool in his tool belt. Bailey's certainly better at that. I'd say Bailey's probably like a third down player right now, and Bain is more that first and second down. But that's interesting. So that kind of changes my pick where I was going to go with the Saints at 8. So David Bailey is still on the board. Saints needs are at edge, wide receiver, guard, and corner. I have the choice between the top 2 corners here. Oh boy. And I have Caleb Downs still here. Joey, this is the first one I actually have to pause and think about. I If I'm the Saints, I don't think David Bailey falls that far, and I think it's a boon for them. I think they fill in the draft card and run to the stage. I'm going to take David Bailey to the New Orleans Saints.
Another option I could see if David Bailey is sitting there. I
I
could
almost
definitely
went corner.
see.
Almost went
I could
corner.
see the Saints trading back a few spots with that kind of talent still available, seeing if they're able to get a
Yeah,
first round pick next year, especially with the quarterback heavy draft that is supposed to be 2027.
right,
So that's definitely, I mean, obviously not doing trades for the podcast tonight, but I could
right.
definitely see if David Bailey is available there. I think there it's going to be a hard conversation in that war room about do we take Bailey or do we trade back here? Because I guarantee you that phone's going to be lighting up.
The trades in this draft are going to be interesting because, like you've mentioned, I think everybody wants to move down, but it takes 2 to tango. So somebody has to want to move up, and typically teams don't really like move up until their guys you see sort of a fall. And I think David Bailey. I think there's a team outside of the top 10 who would love to trade up for a David Bailey. I'll say that. Chiefs on the clock at number 9, and that's you.
So this is where it's going to kind of get a little interesting. Wide receiver, DN, defensive back
Yep,
is what I have the Chiefs down as. You got two great safeties and Caleb Downs and Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon still available.
yep,
Mansour Delaney from LSU at corner. So a lot of
yep.
defensive back options available here, but I
McCoy.
think
Mm-hmm.
McCoy, but I think Delaney is going to be the pick here for the Chiefs. Try to strengthen up that defensive secondary a little bit here in 2026. If you're the Chief fan, you're probably expecting somewhat of a little bit of a down season this year. So having that ability to get a solid defensive back, having that 5th-year option on him with the way the first round contracts work, I think that's a great pick for the Chiefs.
I like it. I think we went. Yeah, I went the other side of the ball, but I believe last time too. I said corners is an absolute need. So absolutely, I like that pick. I like your Delane pick more than I like my Jordan Tyson pick from the first time we did this. So now we get to pick 10. About a third of the way through here, Joe. We're doing great. The Bengals were on the clock until earlier this week when they traded the 10th overall pick straight up for Dexter Lawrence from the New York Giants. And Joe, I don't know if you saw this. My favorite meme that I saw made about the pick was, the Family Guy episode with the mystery box, and Peter goes, Like, yeah, what was it? Was it a boat or whatever it was? Yeah, a boat is a boat, but a mystery box could be anything. It could be even be a boat, and it's like the 10th pick. Well, Dexter Lawrence is Dexter Lawrence, but the 10th pick could be anything. It could even be Dexter Lawrence, and that's the kind of the way I look at it. Needs listed for the Giants, I have wide receiver, linebacker, guard, safety, and defensive tackle. Now
And
that
remind you, they already took the
Tyson is gone.
linebacker and Sony Styles, so linebacker is no longer a position of need, so to speak.
Correct. So with the new coach in town, I don't see wide receiver as that big a need because they already have Malik Neighbors. I think Harbaugh, former special teams coach, he wants a guy who's smart on the back end, who can play a lot of positions. I think he takes, and it's going to hurt my soul because I was hoping he'd be there at 11. But I think he takes who I believe to be the best player in the NFL draft is. Now, he's at a low value position, but I think he's a high caliber player. I think this is where Caleb Downs comes off the board, 10th overall.
And I think that's a great home for him there at 10th overall with
Yeah,
Harbaugh, the Giants, being in the Big Apple. Yeah, that's a slam dunk pick there for the Giants. I think
I
they're going to
agree.
be very happy with that.
I agree. So that's 10 picks. Let's go back through them real quick. The Raiders took Mendoza first. The Jets took Arvell Reese second. The Cardinals took Jeremiah Love third. The Titans took Francis Mauigoa, the tackle, fourth. The Giants took Sonny Styles, the linebacker from Ohio State, fifth. The Browns took Carnell Tate, wide receiver from Ohio State, sixth. The Commanders took Reuben Bain Jr., the defensive end from Miami, seventh. The Saints took David Bailey, the defensive end from Texas Tech, eighth. The Chiefs took cornerback Mansour Delane from LSU, ninth. And the Giants, with their second pick in the top 10, bring home Caleb Downs, the safety. Which brings us, Joe, to the most important pick in the entire draft. Number 11, the Miami Dolphins. They have position needs at everything except for left tackle and center.
It's going to be a tough one. But no, nonetheless, I think you're going to be happy with this pick. If I'm the Dolphins, I'm slamming the card down for Jordan Tyson here. Getting a playmaker back there for Malik Wills. Someone that can go up there, catch the ball. Great route runner. I know there's a lot of question marks around his health. I'm not as concerned about his health as a lot of other people are. I mean, the guy only missed 5 games in the last 2 seasons, I think it was, when I was counting it up. So not a ton of time missed, but I think Jordan Tyson's would be a great pick there for Miami.
I don't hate it. The health is the only thing. I mean, he is ceiling wise probably the best wide receiver in the draft. I actually have him over Tate in terms of just talent, pure skill, raw athleticism. Tate's a little bit cleaner, a little bit smoother. Obviously has the pedigree, the Ohio State pedigree. That and he, the injury history or really the lack thereof compared to Tyson. But yeah, if you put health aside completely, Tyson's probably the better receiver, and he is, looking back, he'd be the first receiver off the board. So it brings us to 12, Joey. The Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
What's Jerry Jones going to do?
What is Jerry Jones going to do? Needs it corner, linebacker, safety, edge, and offensive tackle. I don't know if I like Spencer Fano enough to take him here, but I have a feeling this is a very Jerry Jones pick. This is a low floor, high ceiling player. I'm going with Jermon McCoy, the corner from Tennessee. Tore the ACL 2 years ago, didn't come back last season. It's really unclear as to when he was actually cleared to play. Invited to the Senior Bowl, didn't do that. Invited to the Combine, didn't do that. And then he didn't do the pro day. He did his own. Did he do the pro day or did he have his own workout? And
I think he had his own workout.
He absolutely slam dunked it, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, he's back in it." So could be the best man corner in this draft. Should health prove not an issue, is up there with Delane, maybe the better athlete, maybe the better man cover corner. And the last time we saw him, he was awesome. So Jermon McCoy, 12th overall, to the Cowboys. And I dropped my pen, Joe. So you can go ahead and make the 13th pick, and I'm going to reach down and grab my pen.
So 13th,
Okay,
we have the LA Rams picking wide receiver, tackle, linebacker are the positions of need that I have. I think this is where we start to see somewhat of a little bit of run on pass catchers. I think a great pick here for the Rams for Matthew Stafford is adding to that wide receiver room. Some people might think it's a little bit early, but I'm in absolute love with this receiver. Um, Might even be, in my opinion, a higher end prospect than Carnell Tate, but Omar Cooper Jr., the
Oh,
wide receiver out of Indiana. I think Matthew Stafford is going to be very ecstatic to have that extra pass catcher, excuse me.
yeah, no, I am with you on that one. I have to scroll down and find him here in my mock draft simulator that I'm using to keep track of all this. Yeah, no, the favorite thing I've heard about Cooper Jr. is he's a juiced up Jarvis Landry. And I think you and I both know how much. Yeah, you have an affinity for Jarvis Landry as well. The juice was loose in Cleveland for a couple of years after he was awesome in Miami. And you're telling me Cooper Jr. is just a faster version of Jarvis? Yeah, I'll take that. And
That's a
I think
great
Matthew
comp, and I think
Stafford
we
will
talk
take
about
that.
that. I think we talked about that on the last podcast mock draft was how similar Cooper Jr. is, just basically a faster Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, I'm with that. Yeah, we went wide receiver the first time too as well. So Omar Cooper Jr. 13th overall to the Rams, which leaves Makai Lemon still on the board. Which that we're
That's a
getting
Ravens
smart, Joey.
pick. That's a Ravens pick.
I was gonna say, so the Ravens are up, and I'm not taking Makai Lemon. I'm gonna take a Ravens pick, and I'm gonna have him take the best player available, which is Vega Iowane, the guard from Penn State. I would have liked him at 11. Safe. He's a guard. He's not tackle. He's not center. He's going to probably play left guard. Um, but he's an all pro in the waiting. I think I said this the first time too. I've watched a lot of football. I have never seen any other guard in history move into the slot, come in motion, as like part of the play. Like athletes like that don't play offensive line, and Iowane is that guy. So I think he goes 14th for the Ravens. And once again, the Dirty Birds get an unbelievable pick that falls to 14, and he's going to be on that team for a dozen years and probably make just as many All Pros and Pro Bowls.
Well, now that Harbaugh's gone, we can hope the ship is a little bit different there in Baltimore.
I don't know. Do they want it? Do they want different?
You're
I
gonna get
mean,
a
I
different
think
coach. Coaching's gonna be different.
I can maybe they go defense because they got a defensive head coach. I can see it. But I went with I took who I thought the best player available was.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I draft. So Ione goes 14th. Iowane, I'm sorry, goes 14th to the Ravens. 15th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the clock. Your good buddy Baker Mayfield down there. What's he need?
I'm going to take care of Baker and Mayfield. Buccaneers right now, I have them as tight end, offensive line, DN, linebacker help. But I'm going to go give Baker Mayfield another playmaker and Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end out of
Oh,
Oregon. I think Baker Mayfield, if you remember those days when he had a great tight end in Cleveland with David Njoku, those were some of Njoku's best seasons were with Baker Mayfield. Baker loves his tight ends, loves the athletic ones, and I think Sadiq with his versatility, being able to split out wide, play in the slot, or play attached. I think that's going to be a really good fit out there in Tampa Bay.
I agree. I love that pick. Yeah, who's the last tight end that had down there? Is Cameron Brate still there? I could be a few years past. The fact that I cannot name the Buccaneers tight end tells me that they need
Is
one.
Kate Otten there? Was he there?
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I think
I think
Otten
that
is there.
that name was ringing a bell to me a little bit, but nonetheless, Sadiq's going to be an upgrade over anything in that tight end room.
I agree. Perfect. Perfect. Great pick. Which brings us then to pick 16th, which is the Jets. Their second pick. They took Arvell Reese second overall. So the last pick in the first half of the first round. Jets needs wide receiver, quarterback, linebacker, and guard after taking edge off the board with the second pick. And I think the board fell perfectly because Makai Lemon is still sitting there, and they need a wide receiver. So I'm going Makai Lemon, the Biletnikoff Award winner from USC, 16th to the Jets.
What are the odds you see maybe a Ty Simpson fall off the board here to the Jets?
Who'd they sign to play quarterback this year? Gino?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. 16 is too rich for Ty Simpson. I'm on record with what I feel about Ty Simpson. I don't think we need to go into it here. He's not a first round quarterback.
You know he's going to
Um,
go first round though.
Quarterbacks are overvalued. I agree. I don't
100%.
think he goes in the first half of the first round. I think he's one of those guys like Jackson Dart last year. The Giants traded back up to 25 to take Dart, who wasn't a first round quarterback. I think that's the Ty Simpson ceiling.
Okay.
Is that fair?
I'm with you on. I don't think Simpson's going to be anything special. I
No.
don't think he's going to be a Pro Bowl quarterback. But I mean, being a Browns fan, I've seen it. Teams always reach on quarterbacks. So that was just my curiosity spot because you're starting to get, like you said, in the middle of that first round. Is
Yeah.
that maybe where you see Ty Simpson come off the board?
And a QB needy team. You're not wrong. I'm not high on Simpson. And even though the Jets need quarterback, and I'm not a fan of the Jets, I can't even do that to New York. How about this? So how about 17? The Lions. They have some needs: tackle, edge, guard, defensive tackle, and safety. What say you?
See, I have linebacker as a potential need as well for the
Okay.
Lions. Um, I don't see any defensive tackles really worthy of this pick at 17. Obviously, tackle wise, Caden Proctor, Blake Miller, bunch of tackles available, Monroe Freeling, but I think the pick here,
Fano, Lomu. Mm-hmm.
which would be a great fit in Detroit in the Motor City, is going to be CJ Allen, linebacker out
Oh,
of Georgia. A huge fan of CJ Allen. I think he's going to be a phenomenal player in the NFL and at the next level. He's got a nose of finding the football. He's very quick twitched, and he's a ball hawk. He's a heat-seeking missile, and I think that's the kind of player that Dan Campbell would love to have in Detroit is that personality.
I agree. That's interesting. Um, did we have CJ Allen in the first one? Yeah, he went a few picks later in the first one. I think you picked him last time too. So you're your CJ Allen guy.
Big CJ
Um,
Allen guy.
love it. Love it. All right. So we're at 18 and the Vikings. CJ Allen off the board right after Micaiah Lemon. Vikings needs safety, center, corner, defensive tackle, running back. And I think, once again, the board just fell perfectly for the Vikings. We mentioned the tackle class, which is top heavy. And tackles are one of those things that they're like quarterbacks, they get overvalued. So I think we're going to get a run on tackles in the first round. I don't know if that starts right now, Joe, but I think Spencer Fano, the right tackle from Utah, is going to be a guy. Now, I mentioned that the Vikings had a need at center. Fano is probably going to move inside anyway because of the sub 30. Is it 32 or just under 32 inch
Just
arms?
under 32-inch arms.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to last a tackle. I think he's going to be a great interior move player. And one of the things I noticed about him is they had him snap at the Senior Bowl. So I think teams see him as a center, a wide zone center. And I think Lomu moves to center. And I think an awesome spot for him is a team with a need at center, 18th overall. So I think they get a great athlete from that tackle class that they can kick inside and have a 10-year center. Spencer Fano to the Vikings, 18th.
Spencer Fano, great pick. Like you just said, I'm very skeptical on him being able to stay inside, or excuse me,
Yep.
outside for his career. So I definitely see him getting kicked inside a guard, but that is a great call out that he was snapping at the Senior Bowl. So
Yep.
that's a great opportunity for the Vikings to move him inside there.
Absolutely. Panthers on the clock, 19th. Another team that needs tackle. Is this where the run on tackles? I guess at 18. Is this where the tackle run begins?
I think it is, and I'm going to go with Monroe Freeling, the tackle out of
Okay.
Georgia. Like you said, it was only a matter of time before that run on tackles happened. And I think this is where it starts, and this is also where, if you're Andrew Berry, the Cleveland Browns, you're getting on the horn trying to move up here in the first round from your 24 spot to try to get one of these tackles before they're all gone.
Yep. Yep, I agree, and I'm not going to stray from that here at 20. The Cowboys need a tackle, and I think they're going to take the best left tackle remaining. Would be Spencer Fano's running mate at Utah, Caleb Lomu. Now, this is the thing about Lomu. Fano's getting all the recognition, Joe. He was Utah's left tackle until Caleb Lomu came to town, and they moved Spencer Fano to the right to replace him with Lomu. I think he's actually the better athlete. He has the more prototypical size for the left tackle position, and I think the Cowboys are in desperate need of both tackle spots, and I think Lomu fits the bill.
Okay. So Steelers needing quarterback, guard, tackle, running back, whole heck of a lot here.
Yeah.
I could see another tackle going here for that run on tackles.
Yeah,
Um,
especially since we just saw Broderick. What's it, Broderick?
Blake Miller.
No, I'm sorry. He plays tackle for the Steelers now. What's his name?
Uh,
Broderick. I can't think of
I'm,
his last name, but he got hurt, and he received some bad news the other day. He might not be ready for training camp. So I think tackle is the outside chance that the Steelers may panic.
well, here's a name I've been hearing recently for the Steelers. Some conversation, listening to the Pony Show in the mornings.
Yeah.
Um, Aaron Rodgers up in the air what he's going to be doing. Obviously, even if he comes back, doesn't all have many years left. I mean, he guy just keeps coming back nonetheless. But I'm gonna say Ty Simpson here, getting our second quarterback
Oh.
off the board.
Oh, you're gonna make me scroll way down here, bud. Ty Simpson to the Steelers, 21st overall. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, actually, you know what we need to do? We need to recap 11. Well,
Oh
recap
yes,
11 to 21. So go back to 11. The Miami Dolphins took Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State. The Cowboys, with their first pick, took Jermon McCoy, the corner from Tennessee. The Rams took Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver. The Ravens took Vega Ioane, the guard from Penn State. The Buccaneers took the tight end, Kenyon Sadiq, out of Oregon. The Jets, with their second first-round pick, took a wide receiver, Micaiah Lemon, out of USC. The Lions took a linebacker, C.J. Allen, out of Georgia. The Vikings took Spencer Fano, the right tackle. I think they're going to move him into center from Utah. Panthers continue to run at tackle with Monroe Freeling from Georgia. And then the Cowboys, with their second pick, took Caleb Lomu, the left tackle from Utah. And then we just had Steelers take the second quarterback of the first round, and Ty Simpson from Alabama. That leaves us with the Chargers on the clock at 22. Needs include guard, edge, defensive tackle, safety, and corner. Joe, I'm between two picks here.
if I'm the Rams or the Chargers, I am running up to the podium right now with my pick,
Who are you running with?
Dylan Thieneman.
Okay, so I'm between Thieneman and Emmanuel McNeil Warren.
So
So
I've
both
heard
safeties. So we're thinking the same thing. It's who do they prefer?
I've heard McNeil
Um,
Warren recently has been looking like he might fall to a day two pick. Now, is that
well,
just smoke and mirrors? I don't know, but I've been hearing a lot of scouts and front office personnel are preferring Thieneman over McNeil Warren right now.
I think it's who's your flavor? What do you want to play them as? Because they're both listed as safeties, but they do not play the same position. Does that make sense?
Yep.
McNeil Warren's going to be more of your box safety, play close to the line of scrimmage in the slot. Whereas Thieneman, who can play the run, he's going to play more off the ball. He's going to be that center field or free safety, more of a playmaker, chase the ball type. I think in that defense, I'm going to lean with your thinking here. I think it should be Dylan Thieneman over McNeil Warren, and I'll take that because I'm an athlete guy, and Thieneman tested much better than McNeil Warren. I was a little disappointed with the torpedo from Toledo's 40 time. I don't think he's going to be able to run with a lot of the NFL receivers, but he's going to be a great box player, and it kind of makes sense that people are or at least saying that he falls to day two. So I'll take Thieneman here, 22 to the Chargers.
So with the Eagles, I could see McNeil Warren being a great fit here too. I think his persona that he has, I think he'd be a great fit in Philadelphia. Not who I'm going to go with though. I think defensive end is going to be something that you're going to see the
Yes,
Eagles try to target here early. And I'm going to go with Keldrick Falk, the defensive end out of Auburn here for the Eagles. Mesidor is a very great athlete, very great defensive end out of Miami, but I just have a better feeling
but he's
about Falk in this
25.
spot. Correct.
Yeah, Keldrick Falk is interesting because he is more of the height, weight, speed, like perfect. You pull him from central casting. That's what a defensive end looks like, and the run tape is good. The pass tape is not. He's not there yet, but he's also only 20 years old. So you're looking at a higher ceiling, and again, he's 5 years younger than Akeem Mesidor. So you have 5 years of pro coaching to hopefully get him where Mesidor is, from a pass rush potential. the Eagles are so loaded on the defensive line anyway. I think Falk is a great guy to put in that room to get in rotation, and a guy that you don't have to like plug and play and lean on early. You can kind of let him develop, put him in good situations. I don't need to spend the entire night talking about Keldrick Falk and the Eagles, but I think that's a great pick, Joe. Which brings us to 24. And I didn't actually prepare this or plan this, Joe, but I have both the Browns picks. So I took Carnell Tate 6th overall. So now they're looking at offensive tackle, right? That's what they want to come away with. Do they want Caden Proctor, or do they want Blake Miller, or do they want Max Ahianachor? I know everybody said, you look at rankings. I don't care about rankings. I'm going to look at my rankings. I think the highest potential left tackle in this class is Max Ahianachor from Arizona State. And that's who I'm going with the Browns here. I'm sure you wanted Proctor, but Joey, you just got to trust me on this one. Ahianachor at 24, send it in.
I actually didn't want Caden Proctor.
Oh, no?
I think he is Jed Wills 2.0. Freak athlete, but just can't put it all together. I actually, my pick there for the Browns has been Blake Miller.
Okay.
Tackle out of Clemson, has ties. He's from Northeast Ohio, or from Ohio, I should say. So I think that kind of the link there. But I'm happy with your pick too. I'm a big fan of Max as well. But yeah, Blake Miller would have been my pick. But no, I'm not big on Caden Proctor. The more I've looked into him,
Interesting.
Just something doesn't smell right with that whole situation. Like I said, phenomenal athlete. There's no question about that. I just get the Jed Wills vibe off of him for some reason.
That's fair. And you know why I went with Ahianachor also? Because they have what's his name? Is it Paris Johnson, the Ohio State guy, the huge?
No, Titus Johnson is who we just signed at right tackle.
Who was the other one you drafted? Got hurt.
DeJuan Jones.
DeJuan, that's who I'm thinking. So they have DeJuan Jones, who I think will slate to start at left tackle, but the injury bug is his issue. So if you have Ahianachor, you give him a little bit of time. I don't think he needs to start the year. I think he needs to be in rotation. And then if and when DeJuan or someone else goes down, you have a plug-and-play first-round talent, gets a little more time, a little more coaching. I think the more time you can give him, the better he's going to get. Another guy who's only 21 years old, former basketball player, didn't put on shoulder pads until the year 2022. So the ceiling is unbelievable. I keep saying Teron Armstead level athlete. I think he's going to be an all-pro eventually.
How old did you say Max was?
I think he's only 21.
No, I'm looking at it right now. He's almost 23. He'll be 23 when the season starts.
Oh, then who? I was thinking of someone else. My mistake.
No, you're good. I had to think about that too for a second. I was like, I don't think.
I looked at him. I was like, oh, he's young too. So he's young and very
Blake Miller just turned 22.
Maybe that's who I was thinking. Yeah, there was a tackle who's super, super young. Maybe it was Miller.
Nonetheless, though, moving into Chicago.
Yeah, 25 in the Bears.
The Windy City. A lot of people we were just talking about, I think he's going to go in the second round. I'm going to go with Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I think he's going to be a great box safety. I think he'd be a great fit as a safety need for the Bears. So we're going to take McNeil-Warren off the board here at pick 25.
All right. Yeah, and more defense for the Bears. Let's see. 26, the Buffalo Bills. Who will shuffle up to Buffalo? It says they have a needed edge, wide receiver, safety, linebacker, and offensive guard. They just signed the defensive end from Miami, Bradley Chubb. I don't know if there's any wide receivers that I want. There is. And
I know where you're going with
this. Yeah, and I hate to do it because I hate the Bills. But the best receiver available is Kevin Concepcion. They call him KC. I'm going to send him up to Buffalo. He's going to play in the slot. He's going to catch 110 footballs and terrorize Miami for the next decade.
You know, there was a lot of talk about the Browns taking Concepcion at 24 and taking the tackle at 6 or trading back into the 10 to 13 range for a tackle. Huge fan of KC. Still some things I want to see from him to really think that he can be that alpha number one receiver. I think he's a great number two receiver. Will be a great number two receiver. I just need to see a little bit more before I deem him as being that number one alpha dog wide receiver.
I was gonna say I think he gets dogged in that because he's not the classic X boundary receiver. He's gonna live in the slot. He's gonna live over the middle of the field. He's gonna do a lot of the get it to him quickly and let him make a play after the catch. Um, I just again just I watched KC so much even before I started the podcast this year. He was my wide receiver run before I knew about all this other stuff. I don't think he makes it out of the first round. Like I said, he's a 100-ball catcher. He had 7 drops last year, and I watched all 7 drops. He is so wide open that the ball is here, and he's looking upfield, seeing where he's going to go, and the ball just kind of drops. They're focus drops. I think day one in training camp, they get that cleaned up. KC, keep your eyes on the ball, catch, then run. Which brings us to 27, and the San Francisco 49ers, Joe. They have needs at tackle, wide receiver, guard, edge, and safety. We've had 3 safeties go in the first round. Who do they go at 27 overall?
I think again, Akeem Mesidor is a great fit here. Like you said, a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, and I think San Francisco, they're a title contender every year. I don't care what anyone else has to say about that. I think a Mesidor is a great plug and play there for them at defensive end.
I agree. Pass rush. Situational pass rusher. He's a little small, and I said he's 25, but I think he's complete. He's clean. He comes in and he competes day one. 28, the Houston Texans. The last time we saw them on the field, we saw their quarterback. What did he take? 5 sacks? 7 sacks? He got murdered. And they just traded away their offensive tackle to the Browns. So I think this is another tackle pick, and it's who do you like more, Caden Proctor or Blake Miller? And personally, I like Blake Miller. So I'm going to take the tackle from Clemson. I don't know if they put him on the right side. He's a left tackle. I don't know if he can play right, but I think they take Miller and they figure it out from there.
I think that's a great pick, and I think that's probably the direction they would go. If I'm sitting there as the Texans, got to protect your franchise.
I agree, 100%. So another team, Joey, there are 6 teams this year that have 2 first-round picks. Kansas City's one of them. The Chiefs are coming off what we'll call as a down year. Who do you think they go with at 29? And remember, who'd they take? They took Mansour Delane, 9th overall. So they have that corner need filled.
I think they're going to go to the opposite side of the football now, head off over to the offensive side of things, look for a playmaker. And one guy that I'm absolutely a huge fan of in that second tier of playmakers at wide receiver is Denzel Boston.
Awesome.
The combination of speed, size, raw athleticism, just turned 22 a few months ago. So huge fan of Denzel Boston there for Kansas City.
Nailed it. Yeah. Now there's that classic X outside boundary receiver. You got to press him. You got to put a guy over the top. He wins 50-50 balls. 50-50 balls are more like 80-20 balls with Boston. His dad played for Miami, David, and they're built the same. They live in the weight room. They're not going to run away from anybody. They're not the go around you type receiver that kind of swallow the football, vacuum the football in, and go through smaller defensive backs. I think he's going to feast with a guy like Patrick Mahomes throwing him the football. Guy who knows where to put it, who can put it where only Boston can get it. And all those third down and, the plays that used to go to Kelsey, I think can kind of shift over to Boston. Kind of the same kind of size-wise. He's not 6'7" like
many all-pro seasons coming.
Yes, another big body. Joey, we come back to the Miami Dolphins, who have needs at everything. They took Jordan Tyson, 11th overall, so that wide receiver need sort of filled, we hope. Needs along the offensive line. Let's see. You took Denzel Boston the last time we did this, and I'm going to take way too long looking at this because there's just I don't think there's anybody here that I really like on the offensive line. It's too early for those defensive line guys. We took a defensive lineman early last year. I don't like Colton Hood in the first round. Here's what I'm going to do. We'll go Brandon CC, corner from South Carolina. Undersized, scrappy, but a baller. Five-star high school guy, elite level athlete. And really, looking at Miami Dolphins roster, he comes in, he's CB1 day one. Brandon Sissy,
That's a good pick.
our
I like
corner.
him over Terrell as well.
Yes.
In that spot. Definitely a great pick.
And Colton Hood.
And
I like him over Colton Hood.
so for the Patriots, rumor has it they're not going to need a wide receiver. Allegedly, AJ Brown's going to end up there
Yep.
somehow. But tackle, defensive line, linebacker as positions and needs. I just something tells me Caden Proctor. There's always one guy each year that just falls out of the first round, and just
Yep.
something's telling my gut is telling me it's going to be Caden Proctor this year.
Okay.
So I'm going to make the jump here and go Caden McDonald, the Ohio State defensive tackle. Going to help bolster up that defensive line out there in New England.
Okay. I'm good with it. I'm good with it. McDonald over Peter Woods?
I think so. Peter Woods actually is my second rated defensive tackle. I have Caleb Banks ahead of him as well.
Caleb Banks. Okay, so Caleb Banks to me is the guy who will plummet because of the questions. It's effort and consistency. The body is there, the athleticism is there, but the tape it's wildly inconsistent. And I think weight was one of his issues too. So it's one of those, how much does he love the game? Put together a great workout. We'll kind of see. I think the questions are between the ears. I think it's going to be a big question of like where he goes, what room does he get in, what coaches does he get, what can they put around him, what kind of atmosphere can they create for Caleb Banks? And we don't need to get off on Caleb Banks because we just talked Caden McDonald from Ohio State. So what is that? The fourth? Is that the fourth Ohio State guy taken?
Tate,
2,
Reese,
3,
Styles,
4,
Downs.
5th.
So 5, yeah.
5th.
And he couldn't win a national title.
Five Buckeyes in the first round.
And couldn't win a national title.
Couldn't win a national title. So the final pick of the first round, the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks needs an edge, guard, center, corner, and now running back. A lot of stuff still available here in the first round. Joe, this is just going to be BPA. I wish they needed a defensive tackle, so I didn't see Peter Woods fall into the second round, but they don't need it. They're loaded at defensive tackle. So I think this is where Colton Hood comes off the board. I think they go Colton Hood. We go chalk. They get another corner, and the Seahawks get better.
Seahawks are going to have a good race, a good little window here coming up for them, or continuing, I should say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So let's finish it off. 21, Ty Simpson, the second quarterback, came off the board. 22nd, the Chargers, they took Dylan Thiedemann, the safety from Oregon. Keldrick Falk goes to the Eagles, 23rd. Max Ahianachor goes to the Browns, 24th. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the third safety, comes off the board, 25th to the Chicago Bears. KC Concepcion goes 26th to the Bills, much to my dismay. Akeem Mesidor to the 49ers, 27th overall. Blake Miller goes to the Texans, the tackle at 28. Denzel Boston, a new X receiver in Kansas City at 29. Brandon Cece, Miami gets their a new number one corner at 30. Caden McDonald goes to the Patriots, a massive defensive tackle from Ohio State at 31. And finally, Colton Hood, the other Tennessee cornerback, goes to the Seahawks at 32. Joe, before we get out of here, big picture, what's your biggest takeaway from how this played out? Anything that surprised you, or maybe a pick you're already second guessing now that we've had a minute to kind of digest it?
See, nothing ever really surprises me when it comes to whether it be a mock draft or the real draft, because at the end of the day, anything can happen. That's why you see the NFL draft on prime time, not on that normal Saturday all day, Sunday all day thing like we used to see as we were kids. That's why not sure how much you've talked about on the podcast in the past, but the draft picks in the first round going from 12 minutes down to 8 minutes this year, trying to
Yes.
speed up the draft a little bit. So because
They
people got
want
to
it
get to
done
work
by
the next day.
11 p.m. Did you see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you lose a lot of audience after 11 p.m. Watch that local news and then head to bed. So um, I'm excited for it. I think there's a lot of people
I think that's
saying
a good
that
move.
it's kind of a disappointing draft this year. Not a lot of talent, not a lot of a deep draft. But I think this might be one of the more exciting drafts that we've seen in recent years because of that new 4 less minutes on picking, and also just because there is that top echelon. But once you get outside
Yeah.
that top 10, a lot of these guys don't have a lot of distance between them and the next person at their position group that could be taken ahead of them. So I think it's going to be a very interesting night. For those of you sports bettors out there, sure there's going to be a lot of wildness going on in Vegas on those sports betting books.
The
So
prop
just an
bets are going to be
overall exciting
crazy.
night.
Yeah. I am really looking forward to the Fast and Furious picks. And the one thing that I really like about this year's draft is you said that there's a lack of a top end. There's not a lot of superstars, but there's a lot of starters. And one of
Solid players.
great like step in starters, good players.
Hmm.
The best tweet I read today was someone said they're keeping track. There are now 94 guys who could sneak into the first round. So take that for what you will. Not top heavy, but deep. Joe, one more question for you. Looking at what's left on the board right now, who's the name you feel the best about not going in round one? How did you not get that type player? Like who should not be there? Pick one, day two.
That's still available on our board.
Still available.
I mean, I think like we talked about, the fact that Caden Proctor fell, I think that's a
Proctor,
big
yep,
one. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Canisius Howell, the defensive end out of A&M. I think that's
yep.
another talented player. Some very talented guards in Prognan out of
Oh, Pregnon,
Oregon.
yep,
And the
yep.
I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the guard out of A&M. So a lot of I think
DeSantis, yeah,
thank you. Yes, I think a lot of
yep,
talent still in the trenches. Outside of that, I mean, it's a deep wide receiver class in my opinion. I'm not a
yeah.
lot of head over heels stars, but a lot of great number two guys have got a lot of good positional players. So it's going to be interesting to see how it falls, and I think you're going to see a lot of trades in the second round. I could potentially see it breaking a record for second round trades here on night number two come Friday with all these players that are still available and teams trying to shuffle around to get these guys early in the second round before you start seeing runs.
I like that. Record-breaking amount of trades in round two. I'll give you two more names: Peter Woods
Yep,
and Avion Terrell.
Clemson.
Yep. So a lot of talent. I think day two. Obviously, super excited for day one, but I think day two is going to be really maybe even more fun than day one. So, all right, Joe. Seriously, I appreciate you jumping on again. You were great as always. This format works because of that back and forth, and we'll definitely do this again next year. Again, we'll have the full mock draft posted after the show so you can go through it, react to it, let us know where we nailed it, where we're completely off. As always, you can find us on the Gem City Sports Facebook page, the YouTube channel, or on X at RufusP88. I am Paul Adamzak, and this has been the Draft Podcast presented by the Gem City Sports Podcast Network. Next time we talk, I'll be live in the Steel City with updates from Ground Zero. See you then.